Hello, this is going to be our leadership presentation, and we're going to be focusing on the topic of grit and how that has to do with leadership, and we're going to connect it to ideas from the class. So I'm going to start off by asking what would be our audience normally, a couple of questions. First would be, why are we in this quote unquote classroom? And a couple people would answer like, I need this class to get my degree. I'm a comms major. I just want to learn about leadership, or they just need this as credits for a different major. There'll be a couple of different answers there. And then I would ask the class, what is your end goal? And of course, they'd be like, to get a bachelor's degree, to move up in my job, to make more money, or they just want to be more educated on certain things. We'll have a big array of answers for that question. And I just want to get the ball rolling on this idea because it does have something to do with grit and what we're going to be talking about in this presentation. So I'm just going to go ahead and define grit real quick. It's basically a combination of passion and persistence. Grit is technically defined as a tenacious pursuit of a domain superordinate goal despite setbacks. Grit and self-control are strongly correlated, but they're not completely interchangeable. So basically, as you can have as much as persistence in your life, you can have as much passion as possible, but you need to have that combination in order to achieve grit and to be as successful as you can be. Both are really important, but it's that combination that sets you apart from the others. So we're also going to talk about your why instead of your what. And it's basically your reason behind achieving a goal versus just achieving the goal itself. And I feel like the reason behind doing something, as in like, oh, you wanted to provide for your kid, or you want to give your kid a better life than you had, that is going to be what drives you to get your degree or be successful or anything in life. So in the graph on the right side, it shows grit compared to self-control and IQ. Especially IQ, we were born to believe that if you have a higher IQ, you're naturally designed to be more successful than others. And this is showing that actually grit and the value of the combination between passion and persistence is actually a little bit more important, because at the end, it shows it higher than both self-control and IQ. And at the bottom, we just put this little quote. It's 90% of people who quit too soon are employed by the 3% that never gave up. It's just saying that if you want to achieve what you want to achieve, you need to have that combination of passion and persistence, and you just are more likely to be successful.
Self-control is essentially resisting the hourly temptations that we find in our everyday lives. It's saying no to the donut when you're trying to lose weight, even if it is just one. Self-control entails aligning actions with any valued goals, despite momentarily more attractive alternatives. Self-control is often described as willpower. This is because it refers to the successful resolution of a conflict between two action impulses. The choice to either satisfy a momentarily alluring option or persevere an option that is of greater enduring value. Both children and adults are capable of deploying an array of cognitive and behavioral strategies seconds, minutes, or even hours in advance of confronting temptations. In general, the ability to exercise self-control appears to improve from infancy through adulthood. High levels of self-control early in life can predict later academic achievement and attainment. An example of an achievement is attaining a higher income or living a healthy life. In fact, self-control predicts many consequential outcomes at least as well as either general intelligence or socioeconomic status. And for grit, it entails maintaining allegiance to the highest level goal over long stretches of time and in the face of disappointments or setbacks. Grit is known as passion and effort that has been sustained over an extended period of time. Goals deemed feasible are met with an active search for viable alternatives. Research has identified harmonious passion, which is autonomous internalization of a passionate activity into one's identity, as a predictor of deliberate practice and, in turn, performance. Grittier people accumulate more hours of deliberate practice over the years. Grit-related constructs are associated with lifetime educational attainment and professional success. Prospective longitudinal studies show that grit predicts the completion of challenging goals despite obstacles and setbacks. For instance, grittier high school juniors in the Chicago public schools are more likely to graduate on time 1 year later. On the left of this slide, we put an image of some very successful people. You see Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, and more. Their path to becoming successful was not a smooth one and had many failures as well. The schematics on the right side outline grit and self-control. The one on the very top outlines how self-control is required to choose between conflicting actions, one which leads to the valued goal and another that is temporarily stronger, is aligned with something that seems better at the moment. Outline A covers the choice between a passion and a different goal. It shows that if you want to succeed at something, your attention needs to be solely on that goal. In life, it's easy to get distracted by something that may seem like an easier goal at the time, but all it will do is deter you from greater success. Staying focused on one or a few more goals make it easier to actually achieve them rather than abandoning them when things get hard. And outline B shows just how self-control fits in the grit. Throughout the path to success, temptations are found, and in order to obtain that goal, self-control must be practiced.
So when you think of your idol, what do you associate their success with? Is it talent? Is it practice? It could be a combination of those things, but just highlighting or focusing on talent as the sole reason for their success would undermine the importance of grit. Talent can only get you so far, but grit, which was defined as passion and perseverance, can take you so much farther. The secret to outstanding achievement is grit, and gritty people are able to maintain their determination and motivation over a long period of time despite their setbacks. And they do more deliberate practice, which helps them practice their craft, their skill, whatever it may be, in order to achieve their goal. And yes, they may be talented, but just preoccupying yourself with the idea that their talent has led them to be as successful as they are undermines how crucial grit is. Highlighting talent creates this naturalist bias amongst people who have a hidden prejudice against those who have achieved what they have achieved because they've worked for it. Jay-Z, when he comes to my mind, I think he is no doubt talented, but that isn't the sole thing he relied on. He, as we know, makes good music and wanted to be signed to a record label when he first started, but unfortunately, he wasn't signed. So essentially, he made his own, and now he's worth $810 million, and also married Beyonce. Now we're going to be playing a video that explains why your why gives your what a more impact.
It's called How Do I Know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase, how do I know, the next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We were in Winston-Salem. So Break Time, this is how it works. I travel the country. I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, can you sing? And then I'm just going to show you the clip. Check it. So you're a musical director.
Yes,
Cool.
sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow.
That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Now, once you give me the version, is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick. If you know what version I'm talking about, just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Right now I'm fine, was blind, but now I see.
Here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.
And lastly, we're just going to be reflecting back on what we have talked about. So the people we look up to or deem idols or legends or successful have demonstrated grit in order to achieve their goals. Grit entails self-control, determination, and motivation over a long period of time, despite setbacks, while focusing on the same top-level goal the entire time. To achieve your goal, talent can only get you so far, but grit and with deliberate practice, it can take you all the way.